Rams fans, a horrible wrong occurred last night. The Seattle Seahawks won Super Bowl 60 in an absolute blowout of the New England Patriots and have now matched the Los Angeles Rams in terms of total franchise Super Bowl wins with 2. I'm going to tell you guys today how we can be aggressive this offseason, we being Les Snead here, really, to right the wrong, to make things right by going and winning another Super Bowl of our own. And not just getting another one, but getting another one at SoFi Stadium. 3 trade candidates the Rams could go get to reload. Let's get into it. But before we do, I just got to tell you guys, we are your one-stop shop for Rams news. Everything you need around the Los Angeles Rams is covered right here on the Rams Report. And shout out to you guys because we have been killing it in terms of growth. We've been the fastest growing new channel here at Chat Sports, showing the guys here that the Rams house is the strongest and fastest growing fan base in the entire NFL. Like I tell them all the time. So if you haven't already joined the Rams house, joined the Ramily, like I say here all the time, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications to stay up to date on all the Rams news and rumors you need. But let's get into this one because, guys, last night sucked. Last night stung big time. Because I think what we all knew as Rams fans coming out of this one is that if we win the NFC Championship game, which really just comes down to this play right here not happening, then we would have won the Super Bowl. I think Peter Schrager summed it up nicely on Good Morning Football today. They were live at Disneyland, and he said, there should be a Rams parade going on right now, gesturing down Main Street, saying that they should be parading down Main Street in Disneyland as he speaks. They put up 457 yards on that Seahawks defense in Week 16 and didn't win. They put up 581 yards on that Seahawks defense in the NFC Championship and didn't win. If you're Matthew Stafford, if you're Sean McVay, you wake up this morning absolutely ill, having watched that team do what they did to the Patriots and say, how did we not play in that game? And yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was the emotion last night. For me, and I think for every other Rams fan, sick to my stomach watching the Seattle Seahawks dismantle a New England Patriots team that was far beneath them. And knowing that for the second consecutive year, it took the best team in football in the closest game they'd play all postseason to knock the Rams out. But they still did it. They still knocked us out. There's no prize for being the second best team in football, but I do think we could say that we were it for 2 years in a row. So how do we get over the hump? How do we get over the top? Another big move. I've said it before. I'll say it again. We need to get back to the F them picks mentality that drove this team to so much success. And there's 3 guys that we're going to talk about today that I think could really be blockbuster moves. You're not going to get to make all 3 of these. It's really you're picking one. So we're going to go through 3 options, starting with Trent McDuffie. And we've talked about McDuffie before on this channel as being a possible option to upgrade in the corner room. And I've mocked this trade before, but I'll show it to you guys again. 29th overall pick, our second pick in the first round. Remember, we have 2 for Trent McDuffie. And I think the Chiefs would be inclined to make this trade. I think what we know about Kansas City over the last couple of years is that they're a team that has a very different valuation process of the corner position than basically any other team in the NFL. Brett Veach, their general manager, has proven over the last couple of years and continues to have a kind of philosophy that he can replace this position, that it's not something they'll invest serious cap space into. And so with Trent McDuffie being a pending free agent down the line and there being a possibility of them saving $14 million if they moved off of him, could we take advantage of their cap-strapped position and secure a 2-time All-Pro selection for our secondary? Guys, this is the type of corner that we have not had since Jalen Ramsey was on the roster. That is the last time we had a corner of this caliber. It's been a while. But you go out and you trade for Trent McDuffie, who, mind you, I'm going to show you his numbers, and he is coming off of his worst season in a while. This is as bad as it was for Trent McDuffie. 67% completion percentage, allowed less than 400 yards all season, 3 touchdowns, 4 pass breakups and a pick, and a 94.7 QB rating. That would have been like the best corner in our secondary all year. And this was one of his worst career seasons in a little while. So you're kind of buying low. You're going to have to sign him to a new contract. But I think we can get McDuffie back to the first-team All-Pro caliber play we've seen. And when you look at this corner room, shallow though it may be, remember, we got to flesh things out here. This is a projected 2026 depth chart. We got a lot of outgoing free agents. So I know there's some scant names on here in total, just 5 guys. And Emmanuel Forbes and Darius Williams, you could argue with me a little bit about Forbes starting over Williams, but I do think it will be Forbes as the starter. And you add McDuffie over to the other side and get Quentin Lake in the nickel, and maybe you draft another corner to have Forbes push down the depth chart a little bit. Hey, that corner room doesn't look so bad. Hey, that corner room's actually pretty solid. That's a huge move in the right direction. But it does come at a pretty large draft capital cost. You're moving off of one of your 2 first-round picks. Maybe you want to hang on to one of those first-round picks. Let's talk about our second option. Same position, little cheaper, in my opinion. Marlon Humphrey, the corner from the Ravens. Another guy who I think could fit into our scheme. But again, like I said, you're not giving up the same amount of draft capital that you would have had to give up to go get Trent McDuffie, but addressing the same need. And addressing it in a Band-Aid style, though. That's kind of, I think, the best way to put what Marlon Humphrey could bring to the Rams and why it's so different from what Trent McDuffie brings to the Rams at the end of the day. McDuffie is significantly younger. McDuffie, you could sign to a new contract and feel comfortable that he could be a starter on the roster for several seasons. Marlon Humphrey, very solid throughout his career. 2-time All-Pro. Most recently in 2024, he was a first-team All-Pro selection at corner, but he's almost 30 years old. Despite being a 4-time Pro Bowl selection, you're trading for an older corner here. You're trading for a corner who needs a new contract pretty soon as well, and that also won't come cheap. So here's the trade, and I spoke to our Ravens host, Joey Peterson, shout out to the Ravens Rundown, about what he would value Marlon Humphrey at, and I was pretty happy with the trade that we would be giving up to go get him. Because again, while Marlon Humphrey does come with his downsides, he's still a former All-Pro selection just 2 seasons ago. This guy's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's been solid in his career, and you'd only have to give up a 5th and 6th round pick, and you'd get a 7th back in return to go add Marlon Humphrey, who, might I add, could add something we've been missing in our secondary over the last couple of years, and that's a turnover-forcing presence. 40 total turnovers since entering the NFL in 2017 makes Marlon Humphrey one of the most productive defensive players in that area in the entire NFL. And again, you look at the depth chart here, it's pretty much the exact same as Trent McDuffie, but you swap him out for Marlon Humphrey. Not quite as rock solid, definitely a situation where I'd want to go, okay, Mansour Delane feels really, he feels like the right idea at 13 to move Emmanuel Forbes down the depth chart a little bit. If you go Marlon Humphrey, I want you to draft corner in the first round. If you go Trent McDuffie, I'm a little more comfortable seeing them do some other things. But we've got a third trade target that isn't at the corner position that I want to tell you guys about. We're going to get into him in 1 second. But before we do, I told you guys off the top to hit that sub button. And if you haven't already, here's another reminder to do so, because 3 trade targets that we've talked about in this video, if the Rams make a trade for any one of these 3 guys or any trade at all, we will have a video for you. We will be the first to let you know whether or not it's a good move for the Rams. We'll break it down in its entirety. We'll let you know who we're going to get and how they fit into Sean McVay, Chris Shula, and our future offensive coordinator whenever he's in place's vision. But let's get into our final target. and I think you guys are going to like this one. His name's been in the rumor mill a lot lately. Maxx Crosby from the Raiders. This is the big swing. This is going for it all. This is your home run attempt, swinging for the fences. And the trade offer, it matches it. I'm not going to lie, guys. It's a big ticket deal. This would be a blockbuster trade, sending a first-round draft pick. And I believe you probably have to give up Agent Zero in this deal, Byron Young, to go get Maxx Crosby. And Byron Young's a solid player. I know a lot of people are going to be upset about moving off of him. But what you'd be adding in this deal is a force off the edge. Maxx Crosby missed time last season. Still produces 53 pressures, 10 sacks, 12 QB hits, and 31 hurries. And if you're wondering, why on God's green earth would the Raiders move off of a guy like that? Well, he's getting a little tired of losing, and especially what didn't sit right with him, maybe more so than the losing, according to reports, is being told not to play for the final 2 games of the season. Obviously, he was dealing with a bit of an injury situation, but he was capable of playing. According to himself and according to doctors, the Raiders shut him down in the interest of getting that first overall pick. Obviously, they did the same to Brock Bowers, and that apparently has not sat right with him. According to Jason La Canfora, he said he told Tom Brady he will never play for the Raiders again. That's a fact. He told them he'll retire before he ever plays for them again. And I will tell you guys, I'm a little skeptical that this report is true. It comes from questionable sources, we'll say that. But I do think that there is a growing rift between the Raiders and Crosby. I don't know if it's as dramatic as him going to Tom Brady and movie style saying, I'm never suiting up for the Raiders again. But I do think that there is interest in both sides in potentially seeing what he could be worth on the open market. You think about the Raiders at this point, obviously they've had Crosby for a long time and still have not found ways to find success. Could the draft capital you get in return be worth the move? And for us, I think it's absolutely worth trading for him. This is a true game wrecker on the edge. I think Jared Verse has the potential to become that, but I don't think we can say Jared Verse is a game wrecker yet. I don't think we can say Byron Young is a game wrecker yet. I think they've had game wrecker moments, but Maxx Crosby is a consistent game-to-game threat to wreck every single one of them. Every offense in the NFL is forced to account for him down to down in a way that is just different, in a way that we haven't had in our front 7 since Aaron Donald retired. I'm not saying Maxx Crosby's Aaron Donald. I'm not saying it. I know that's blasphemy. But look, he's the closest thing we've had since he retired. If we were able to go get him, it'd be a move that massively moves the needle for this defense. Let me know in the comments, guys, which of these 3 trade targets do you like the best? Trent McDuffie, Marlon Humphrey, or Maxx Crosby? Who would you want to see the Rams go out and acquire for the trade offers that I've put together? I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go Rams.